Sorry your mom blew up, Greg. Doctor says she should be okay, but can't eat any spicy food for a while, I think.
We're not going to go back to my mother.
Oh.
I'm not going to go back to my mother.
I just felt bad that I unintentionally tried to kill her last week. I felt really bad about that.
Well, I mean, that's encouraging.
But I mean,
that's encouraging, right? Yeah, that's encouraging.
I had regrets. Okay, I guess I'm not a full sociopath, but
right? Greg with your breathing ass parents. Fuck you, Greg. Oh, breathing parents.
It was just a hell of a way
kiss my ass, Greg.
Kiss my ass, Greg.
With your breathing parents.
Oh, just, one of those moments that I felt at least deserved a minor callback, at least.
You're right. I mean, I got one to my knowledge, and I just, holding on to it as long as I can.
And as well you should,
Despite your plans, Josh.
Despite my plans to shuffle her off this mortal coil any sooner than I even realized I was. That's the frightening part. To the extent, to the depths of my evil here.
Right.
I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like that is some ingrained shit right there that I didn't even know. So, well, no, you haven't tuned into a true crime podcast.
Or how Cobra Commander came to be.
There's that as well. Yeah, any one of those is a potential. No, you are here with the Steam gentlemen back in the Steam tunnels here, welcoming you back. So glad to have you here with us again. It's getting to be that nice, wonderful springtime up here in the Metro Boston area where we live, and just those I don't know 7 or 8 days where we're just truly happy to be alive and living here. It really all comes together right about now. So we all just try to enjoy it while it lasts. But nevertheless, we've retreated back in just to make sure that we give you the quality entertainment that we do believe you deserve. Want to give a quick shout out to the Bruce Campbell fan club. Just say that if you've come over here and you're listening to us from there, we love you. You guys are awesome. We love Bruce. Hail to the king, baby. Please. I may have fucked up and tried to murder Greg's mom last week, but I think I'm going to go out on the limb and say all three of us are Bruce Campbell fans, right? We good?
Yeah.
Totally.
If they're going to believe that now.
I don't think there's any debate on that issue. So, we don't have to keep the debate.
There's also no debate on my mother being alive.
As well. Yeah.
There's no debate on that either.
Yeah. No. But like I said, we can move that one along and just table that motion, move it along quickly to the vote. So we're good there. But we do thank you for coming on over here. We hope you enjoy us. We hope you'll listen to us. We're not going to be seeing you on the page anymore. But I may have, gone against some norms there, some rules that I didn't realize that I was going against. But my bad.
You've come to an agreement.
Yes, my bad. That. So we really appreciate you for coming on over and joining us. And I think we're back in that place. And really want to kick it on over real quick to start off with to the three of clubs, just to see how he's doing as we're landing here on this beautiful sunny day.
Howdy do, what it do? Nice to see y'all. Just happy to be here with my people.
Oh, fantastic! Well, we're always happy to have you here, and
and plus my parents are dead, so you can't really.
As are mine, so I guess that was,
You're in a safe spot with me there.
That's why you guys are trying to make me feel like an outsider.
Whoa. This is you guys. This is you guys. I wasn't part of that.
What the hell?
Mank stuck his dick in the dirt over there.
Right? We have so much in common in other ways. You don't need to include me in that too. I'm in no rush to be in that club.
I was on my way home. Josh said, "Do you want to ride?" And then next thing you know, he's knocking over convenience stores. I was just in the car.
I was just in the car, officer. Right?
White Wayne Brady.
That's it.
White Wayne
What's
Brady.
the case? Going with the better off dead analogies I started with, I would have gone with it's a shame someone throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that, but that's all I would have gone with. But Gregory, Star Child,
$2.
Oh, I got it. I got you $2. Don't you worry. Gregory Starchild, how you doing today?
I'm just over here flaunting my living live parent privilege, I guess. Throwing that in everybody's faces.
I got a mom and you don't. And I got a cupcake and you did.
I don't know. I didn't mean to, but yeah, I'm proud and I'm not apologizing for it.
That's it.
Everybody else whose parents are alive, stand up. Don't be bullied.
Don't be bullied.
Don't be bullied.
Don't be bullied.
from that very strong group of parentless people.
Yes.
Right. Don't let them bully you. All right. Just be happy that yours are alive. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Do not.
Well,
yeah.
I agree with that. Be happy.
Be happy.
Be happy. Yeah.
I agree.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. And
Motherfuckers trying to rush me. Like, nah, I'm in a hurry.
Greg's over here. Greg's over here like the DJ in the club. No requests.
No requests.
They will.
I mean,
like,
save me a spot, but I'm not in a hurry.
Great.
Pretty much my whole attitude with death.
Not a bad one to have. Let's face it. But,
save a spot, but I'm not in a hurry.
Not in a hurry. Yeah, fair enough. Gets to us all there. Well, I am still glad that you would, especially after my attempted murder there, that you would come back on the show and
hey man, everybody's in. The ceremony is about to begin. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Love it. Love it. Well, we are, coming in hot this week. We got another subject here on pop culture with a little social commentary sprinkled in there. And got to give this one up to RaShaun, our very own 3 of Clubs came up, and said that, really we need to talk about movies that were made from video games. Okay. Because he's right. There's a whole subgenre here. There's a whole world. We've talked about movies. We've talked about video games, but this is the first time we've ever talked about movies that were made from video games, which, that's a thing that happens. That happens quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And honestly, letting you in on a little inside baseball, over a year ago when the 3 of us were talking about starting this whole little endeavor, I was coming home and I was listening to NPR. And at that point in time, they had released the newest iteration of Mortal Kombat, which I won't dwell on it too much, especially if it's going to be hard to talk about video game movies without mentioning that at some point. But it was fresh air or something like that. It was sort of one in the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hour, coming home from my early mornings at the gym. And they were, there was a real breakdown. They had, the host and then, several people talking about the video game communities that went along with this and everything that was going into it and what characters they included, what characters they didn't include, and how this was a nod to this and all this breakdown. And I was smiling and laughing the whole time because I said, well, God damn it, we're here. That's our show, man. We have a niche. Right? As soon as I heard that on something as austere and erudite as NPR, and they're giving a breakdown of the latest Mortal Kombat movie, I'm like, well, son of a bitch, we have come into our own. This is our territory. This is what we know and what we do. So I think this is a great subject that I am absolutely, was absolutely ready to get into it. So I can step up to the plate, take my 10 minutes, unless you guys have anything else you want to add to that as we get going. All right. We'll take that. Johnny Cage, without a doubt. Well, I'll take that step back because really for me, when I'm thinking about it, I feel like I get the leadoff spot today, and I'm just pumped up, man. I'm just feeling good. I'm ready to go. I'm looking down that pitcher, and I feel like I got his number because when I think video games and I think movies, to me there is one Cadillac of it all. Yeah, you can look to Silent Hill. All right, you got that movie. The only thing that really, here's the redeeming quality of Silent Hill. It has Sean Bean. Everything with Sean Bean gets a little bit better, right? That's just the case, right? First season of Game of Thrones, by far and away the best. And they killed one. Does not, then they like kill Sean Bean. But okay.
I feel like you saying he's in the movie is a spoiler alert of how he ends up in the movie.
Well, maybe so. I thought he made it to the sequel. I mean, it was.
You got to watch it to find out.
Got to watch it.
I think that's against the law. Like, there's a federal law somewhere that says if he's in your movie, he has to die first.
But it does seem like it at some point. Yeah, he definitely,
TV shows.
Yep. That's it. And then, Lord of the Rings, all that good stuff. So, it had Sean Bean as the redeeming factor. But really, when you are talking about the gold standard of your movies, that you are taking the source material from a video game, which is an interesting idea that those early pitch meetings must have been a hell of a thing somewhere in Hollywood when they do. But it comes down to no other than, yes, everyone's favorite Resident Evil. And I will absolutely make this the hill I am willing to live and die on, that it is, it's the best, man. It is the one, both video game and movie. They made abundantly clear what they were about. They were not here to try and, if you wanted art, you go to a museum. All right. That is definitely the case of how it was supposed to be. Even in the initial cast. Now, firstly, it was the video game was pretty seminal. It tried to give a spooky feel to it. It tried to have a role play feel. It had a bit of different characters. Right. First thing on the adaptation. Okay, we're gonna try and keep that. It's still about zombies. It's still about corporate America running absolutely everything. I mean, come on. Umbrella Corp was Amazon before it was Amazon. Jeff, I know you can hear me. I get it. Let's, be nicer to your workers. That's all we're asking. Stop telling them not to unionize. All right. But, and stop making the zombie potion. That's it. I think those are my two pieces of business advice for you. Other than that, yeah, you clearly got what's going on. But, it has this deep reaching, overseeing, wonderful idea of conspiracism. But immediately when they go to the movies, they're like, no. Like, that's great. And we got to keep it scary, but we got to have someone here who's the centerpiece that can hold this whole thing together. Because if you don't have like one strong, performance at the middle of this, and God damn it, they didn't just reach down from the
strong
heavens.
Is a strong word.
Hey, if they didn't reach down from the heavens, I will make arguments to the Oscars. Okay. That Mila Jovovich, in her performance there as Alice, the woman from, Umbrella, engineered by and, infected with the T virus or the Z virus or whatever the hell it was. I don't even remember. Don't even really care. Why? It was a zombie virus. That's all they needed to know. What happens when they unleash it? Zombies come out from everywhere. And then super zombies come out from everywhere. And then Mila's got to go in and, we got that. We have the entire team going in with her. So you send in a team that is just doomed to failure right from the beginning. Also, just always so important, in any zombie epic as it goes on. And it, just what a masterpiece, truthfully. What an amazing film that then proceeded to spawn 8 sequels, I believe, at the very least. And I got to tell you, I think I saw all but one of them in the theater. I would make my way out to the theater to make sure to go see this spectacle.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh God. I mean, it was just great. It was exactly what I was, each time, but, and they did everything. They would add characters and they would kind of leave them at the end of one movie. And then they would just start the next movie and totally never address them. They would disappear and the world would be in even a different hellscape than they left it in the first place. And you kind of leave on this cliffhanger note a little bit, right? I'm thinking of the end of Apocalypse, which is the case. And she's got a couple of people on her team and she's taken out. In the next movie, you don't see them at all until later. They actually bring the characters back in, but they never address what the hell happened between the end of the second movie where the world was kind of intact and then the end of the third movie, Extinction, where everybody fucking dead and Las Vegas is covered in sand and all the things that, they did the Zach Wilde thing before, he did it on Netflix, right? They did the whole zombie apocalypse in Vegas. All right. Led the standard. led the way. Absolutely, like I say, nothing in it. I wouldn't change a thing. 3 out of 5 stars. That's all I was going. I always keep landing on these things. I'm stealing that from another show that I like. But truthfully, I think it did lend itself so well. Who would have known just how prescient some of these things were, right? I'm sitting in the movie theater watching all these films years prior to, unbeknownst to me, an actual pandemic that's going to break out. And, what's going to come out of it? Corporate conspiracy theories about microchips and 5G. And I'm like, God damn. Right? Ahead of their time. Everything they laid out is the possibility there. All these ideas of being able to remotely activate people and turn them into zombies and turn them into corporate warriors. There it was. It was all there staring us right in the face. That's it. The Resident Evil franchise was trying to tell us where we were headed. If only we had listened. If only we had known at the time. They were trying to listen. We didn't listen.
I'm not gonna lie. There was a part in the pandemic where I was kind of thinking the Umbrella Corp would be a step up from what we were under. I mean, at least they had some innovations.
Well, the Umbrella Corp had their shit together. I think a little more, right? Let's actually face it. The Umbrella Corp, has a few guys in there that are kind of keeping their shit together, and they have that somebody has some sense of the plan.
I mean, they had secret cities, they had cities underground, they had a lot of things. I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, will we get like 2, 3, 4 good decades out of this? I'll ride with that for what we got right now.
They had cities all over the world. They had, they had this thing, this thing figured out, right? Until they didn't, but it truly is just such a wonderful spectacle, a perfect amount of violence. I always love how, later they had to just keep writing into the story of why she's so good at combat, right? And why she just does these.
And it never got good.
And it never got good. But the fact is that, she's infected with the virus that makes the zombies. But that was the real reason they made it, was to try and make people super, kind of tried to make everybody Captain America. But instead they made them zombies, except for her. And then it has clones. That's an actual conspiracy out there. Yes, she was cloned. There's an actual, listen, there are people out there who 110% believe that Avril Lavigne, as you see her now, is a clone. Okay, people will absolutely choose this as the hill to live and die on. That Avril Lavigne currently is a clone, and that she knew too much somewhere along the lines. I believe it's out there with Miley Cyrus as well.
It was getting married to Sum 41. She was the reason why Sum 41 didn't go past 2 albums in most people's minds. So obviously
she had to go. But not only did she have to go,
Avril Lavigne?
Like I said, Sum 41. Look, they were on a meteoric rise of being the voice. They were like the Bill and Ted of our reality. They were going to create the songs
that were going to bring us all together. They were the wild stallions of our generation. But
Evil One.
I just know her as edgy Taylor Swift. I don't know why Avril Lavigne, but
that's kind of fair considering she was out before Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she was, and she's Canadian too. So of course I know her. But we all know my personal touches. All I'm saying is,
excuse exactly 12 shits out of me. I did not know. I did not know that she was a precursor to 11. Taylor Swift. I apologize,
guys. Good.
Speaking of Canadian, when you're talking about seeing all these movies in the movie theater and proudly say that, all I could think is that in some way, shape, or form, when Twyla hears this, she has to be sitting on the sideline, proudly thinking, "That's my husband."
That's my. Oh yeah, well, you know why she thinks that is because she doesn't listen to the show. That's why.
Well, I was gonna say when Twyla hears.
Exactly.
I was giving you credit, Twyla. Josh, I'm glad you picked Resident Evil for 2 reasons. One, it fits a personal story in the sense of I got duped a few times to go in a movie theater to go see a movie made out of a video game property. Resident Evil was one, and it hurt even especially because it was on my birthday weekend. So that sucked. And then I didn't learn my lesson because I got same duping for Final Fantasy, the movie. Don't worry, I'm not going to cover that. But So that's one side, and the other side is actually appreciate Resident Evil, but for different reasons than you. Not the first movie. The movie is both incredibly awesome and really bad at the same time. The tunnel laser scene alone, kind of is like where I kind of felt it was the pinnacle of the whole movie, and it was just a straight drop from there. But even then, still not as bad as people think it is. It just wasn't what we were hoping for. However, what I give credit to the Resident Evil series is that they are a case study of simply letting go. Just letting go and saying, you know what, we are done trying to make this make sense for you. We don't even care. You don't even care.
You don't even care.
Let's just go ahead. Matter of fact, I would argue if there wasn't a Resident Evil series, you wouldn't have the Fast and Furious series. Because you had to have someone who was willing to trailblaze and say, we're going to be unabashed about not giving a fuck about either the IP that this came from or making sense for even the movie before. You better hope you put some things together. Shout out to Mike Epps for somehow making it onto the series.
You walked up to the box office and you said, give me tickets for Resident Evil, either there or, colon and whatever title they put after it, because they didn't like to put the numbers. So give them credit too. They didn't actually put 2, 3, and 4, even though that is what it is. They just, they, like you say, they didn't give, they didn't try and make it too much like the IP, but they give the nods now and again. And they just, they double down on not giving a fuck. Like they just, every time you would think they have a new movie, they'd just be like, oh, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do that. No, fuck you. Even the last one, even the one where they finally had the crescendo to the series, they left you on this one cliffhanger. And then they opened up the movie and only semi-addressed it. They only kind of addressed it. It's like they addressed 10% of it, but you're like, no, you left me waiting for this epic battle in Washington, D.C. And then she wakes up and it's kind of over. What? No. And they're like, yep, fuck you. Fuck you. You rent, in that case, I went and I clicked on it and I rented it in my home, right? They're like, you knew what you were getting into. Don't come complaining to me.
You knew what this was.
You knew what this was.
Well, her husband is the director, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Good point.
And you started with Mortal Kombat. He directed Mortal Kombat.
Right. So
yes. So this guy had some, video game movie cred. So you're never gonna. I mean, I understand you're never gonna fit.
It's one way.
I think that's bullshit. I think you can fit all of the content in. I don't know. Anyway. They obviously didn't try. No. And like if you can honestly just like default to something, just wildly entertaining, and zombies, you can always fall back on zombies. Looking at you, Army of Darkness, like fuck it, just bring out the zombies. It was a hit. It was a hit, and Mila Jovovich is hot. She's still hot.
Yeah,
she was hot in The Fifth Element. She was hot as Joan of Arc, like she's just hot. So absolutely, this was the damn near the perfect movie.
This was, this was aimed at our little Gen X
shit for liking the big hit. I don't understand this world.
It's a tough world, man. It's a tough world, but with that, then, RaShaun, you are up to bat now for your 10 minutes of fame on video game movies. So I want to hear what you have to say. 3 o'clock.
I almost feel like the Star Child should go, because he made a pretty good connection between Mortal Kombat, the first movie, and Resident Evil. So
yeah, I hear you.
I have no problem conceding my time if Star Child wants to get those thoughts out.
You're just trying to finish your homework. I know you.
What? That is so not fair. I'm trying to hear others.
I'm trying to be a giving soul.
All right. Yeah. Good. All right. I mean, I'll go. I got him.
All right. Well, the 3 o'clock does yield his time to the Star Child. Let the record show. Star Child, then, since you gotta get we're gonna change that back.
My hands are free. I'm not even writing.
We're calling an audible here. What talk to us about? Give us your 10 minutes on what made a great, or just what made a movie based on a video game franchise.
Oh, we were picking good ones.
No, we're just talking about them in general.
I think. Yeah, I'm with you. I decided to go positive this week. I was in a positive mood.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. Like all of these movies, like when we really, said we grew up in the age of awesomely bad movies. All of these movies are awesomely bad, or at least they were awesomely bad for a long time. It's important to point out the curse has been broken. Okay, Detective Pikachu and Sonic have broken the curse. I think we can possibly look forward to good video game movies, but if nothing else, not the total shit show that it was before. Because Resident Evil actually represented a turning point. Like that was pretty good compared to the magnum opus of not just terrible video game movies, but terrible fucking movies, Super Mario Brothers. What do you
should have yielded my time. Damn it.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I knew it was a gamble.
Yeah, I pick up the pieces, after that because
RaShaun, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
I mean, I thought you were gonna go in a different direction. I didn't know you're. Oh,
I'm not gonna stay on that, but I feel like you gotta open with that because that
I was
because not only you still can. I mean, I doubt we're gonna talk about it.
Get back to work. Get back to work right now.
Right?
I'm done.
Homework. All right,
I'm done. I reap what I sow. Here's a lesson, world. You make choices.
You make choices. So any other time you tell me, Dennis Hopper, Bob Hoskins are in a movie together, I'm 100% fucking down until you show me this post-apocalyptic just shit show. Like this was more than just Hollywood doesn't get video games or video game fans. This was everything wrong with Hollywood when they get desperate. Why? Because post-apocalyptic is pretty cheap. You throw in some pretty decent names and then just hope that all of the one-liners and terrible dialogue take care of the rest. It's awesomely bad. It's incredibly bad. And then Mortal Kombat / Street Fighter happened. Also fucking terrible. Like they were just awful movies that were amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just everyone cheesing it up, hamming it up, just absolutely having a ball massacring these movies, IPs. And I don't know, it's like you kind of felt like, all right, are all of these, thespians just making fun of all of us lowly video game fans? The answer is yes. Yes, they really are. This is absolutely no respect for the fan base. Someone handed them a script and they're going to do whatever with it.
And by thespian, you mean a completely coked out Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean,
coked out Van Damme.
Hey, Raul Julia was there.
Yeah,
he was
dying, literally dying.
Well, he was dying, cancer. But his kid was a huge Street Fighter fan. That's why he took the role. And I don't care what anyone says. He nailed it. He knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely nailed that part.
Without
Someone
question.
who did not was, do you remember that Wes Studi was Sagat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
I forgot that.
Yeah. Why?
Wow.
I don't fucking know. Yeah. No idea. No idea whatsoever. Like that. They felt like that needed to happen. So those were just, I think, the best examples of them totally not getting it. Now, RaShaun, I have to touch on Final Fantasy because RaShaun mentioned Final Fantasy. I was not as mad about the Final Fantasy movies. There are 3 of them and they're incoherent, but you know what? So are the games. The games don't make any sense either. Like they just take a bunch of, because, they're always cutting edge. They're always the best for the time, whatever the time is. Right. They're always the best graphics, always the best clips, always the best trailers. Everything. Like they're always gorgeous games, and these movies are beautiful too. You know what? I'm not even gonna pressure you. Watch them with the sound off. Don't worry about it. Make up your own story.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, exactly. We used to get high and do it with telenovelas all the time. Like just turn them down. Just make up your own dialogue. They're
used to
beautiful to look at. We haven't done it in a while. Right? They're just beautiful movies to look at. And unfortunately, with this, there aren't too many examples that aren't cute that are, really solid movies. Because us, again, growing up in the era of awesomely bad movies, we know that, okay, 200 million people might not like this terrible movie, but damn well 200 people like this horrible movie, and they love it like a religion. All right.
Absolutely. They know every single word of dialogue.
Yeah, every single word of dialogue. So the Hitman, yeah, like there are some people who know every line. Prince of Persia, that there are some guys who are doing cosplay to that damn movie. Did it do well in the theater? No. Cultural appropriation? Do better, Hollywood. I don't think that they could get away with it now, thank Christ. But at the time,
it'd be Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson was another terrible idea. Yeah. So all of those things
got range.
Again, I think they did make a Doom movie. They made a Doom movie.
A couple, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how they fucked that up, but I think the thing that you get all across the board is they want to just make a basic Hollywood movie, take elements of the video game, and just kind of throw that in and pray it's enough. Like maybe like if we just make this a generic action movie, bring out the hot girls and the zombies, in most cases literally, then you will actually you can actually pull off a decent video game movie, and that was not the case. So they kind of pivoted to cute. So you had Detective Pikachu. Damn it, it was brilliant. I loved it. I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu.
Deadpool Pikachu.
Yes, Deadpool Pikachu.
And?
That was it. Yeah. What's your point?
Yeah.
It's a point. Yeah, it's a point. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. The Angry Birds movie, not even a video game, an app. Right? It's
a video game app. It's iOS. It's a big market these days.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. It was funny. It was really funny. Like, I'm sorry. It was a really funny movie. Like, I couldn't help but just think, all right, I should not like this. I didn't like the Emoji Movie. I barely even gave that a chance. But for some reason, Angry Birds movie, absolutely brilliant. Sonic.
Brilliant.
Again, Sonic was really good. It was. I enjoyed it.
Was
Sonic
it
2. What, Sonic?
Yeah.
It was cute. It was cute. They threw in some like background rom-com elements that I don't think they really needed. Like, I think the fish out of water thing that they were doing with Sonic was good enough. You didn't need the rom-com element, but I guess, it did make it even cuter. Like, we didn't need more cute. And it revived Jim Carrey's career. You're welcome. This little blue person is the best thing to happen to Jim Carrey since Jeff Daniels? I don't know. Like, it's been a really long time. And now Jim Carrey, and he kills it. I'm sorry, like him and Raul Julia, probably the best. I don't know who the guy is who plays Shang Tsung with "Your soul is mine" in Mortal Kombat, but I'm sorry, Jim Carrey absolutely lights up the screen as the villain. I think Dr. Robotnik,
yes,
in the Sonic movie. So a lot of people are saying the curse is lifted. I personally liked what's the name of that last Tomb Raider movie. I thought it was better than Angela Jolie's Tomb Raider movies, but I've got a lot of hope for the future. I think that especially after Sonic, post Sonic, I don't think they will be true to the video games, but even the last Batman movie took a lot of elements from the Arkham games. So you could have just called that Arkham Asylum. You could have just, made it good. And you could have made it based on the Arkham games. But they obviously borrowed a lot from the games. I think there's going to be a lot of hope for the future. And, hashtag not my Halo.
I'll second that hashtag.
And lastly but not leastly, instead of making they should make Star Wars movies based on the video games too. Even though the movies came out before the video games, they should make the movies based on the video games.
Speaking my language, I have said multiple times, even on this podcast, the biggest problem I have with Star Wars is that they cannot get away from one surname in galaxies of availability. It does not make sense. There's so many different timelines and storylines you can go with. It does not ever make sense to do that. I'm totally with you on that. And by the way, if we're talking ranking of actors in video game properties, it's Christopher Lambert's world, and then Lambert, and we're all just paying rent because obviously that was rated.
I don't think so.
That was totally Raiden in the sense of someone who did not give a shit about who Raiden was,
absolutely,
and where he was from, or what he was supposed to represent,
and still threw in a Highlander reference, as he's done in several other movies. Like, the man knows where he came from. He goes back to his roots. He's not.
That's the only way you make some of these movies better, is if you just imagine that the Highlander universe is so big and vast that he actually has lived so long that he's lived through different iterations of humanity where he ends up in these roles.
Yes.
I mean, the Mortal Kombat movie was so not a Mortal Kombat movie. A friend of mine, when he was dabbling with Mormonism, he dragged me along one time for one of their, like, I don't know, recruitment getaways. So yeah, I saw that with a pack of Mormons.
This is the second time you told me the Mormon conversion story with Mortal Kombat,
Mortal Kombat. So I saw that with a bunch of Mormons. That movie should not be okay with Mormons.
But yet, oh gosh darn. Oh my heck. I just, for my oh my heck moment, Greg, I want to own something here with you that I did back in my youth, in my and her younger days. I did have a crush on Angelina Jolie, so I did go see the Tomb Raider movie. I'm not gonna lie.
You say it like you're in a minority.
I know, I totally, but I'm just saying, you gotta own it. Just gotta own what time time frame it was.
Was it because of Gia?
Yeah. I mean,
it's okay.
A lot of people forget about that movie, but she acted her ass off in that.
I never will.
She did. I'll never forget it either. But I was younger then. What can I tell you? Kids, Google it. It's quite the thing. But the thing I have to give two shout outs though. In Tomb Raider, one in Glenn Leon Glenn, is in it, and he is also in the Resident Evil franchise, plays one of the big bad guys, and is also, of course, in Game of Thrones. So we know that. But the biggest shout out I have to give real quick to Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Let's be clear. Let's make sure that we're getting our various video game movies really clear. Is actor Chris Berry, who plays her butler named Hillary. And has at one point puts on like a flak vest and just pulls out a shotgun when the mansion she lives in. But he was on a show called Red Dwarf, which I could talk about, which is why we have a podcast. I could talk about Red Dwarf for hours. One of my favorite British comedies ever. And I'm sitting there, and I go there, of course, as I say, to see no less Angelina Jolie. I've got a crush on it. The movie had Daniel Craig in it, for fuck's sake. All that. And I see Chris Berry, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Chris Berry. Like, this is so awesome. So, little shout out.
Cutest fanboy moment, but yeah.
Absolutely. Like, that is like, Hollywood, that's what you don't understand about us sometimes, right? Yes, these are the franchises we want. Yes, you'll get us out, but like, give us more of those guys. Like, like, you'd be amazed how much traction you could get off of fanboydom and really taking it on. Well, RaShaun, you took, you yielded your time, but we're back to it now. You're on the clock, 3 Clubs, 10 minutes.
Talk about a Blanco moment. Well, damn it. I had a whole thing that I was going to talk about, and then just went, and then now I'm just kind of stuck staring at you guys, trying to figure out what I was going to talk about. I mean, I was going to bring up how Angelina Jolie you may not have been in the minority of having a crush, considering she pimped out Brad Pitt. So you know, I was gonna maybe cover that. Oh yeah, the biggest problem. This isn't even what I was gonna bring up or talk about, but it does bear to be mentioned, and this is a problem for I think a lot of different IPs, be it comic books, any series, and definitely video games that extend past one or two video games. Because really, the biggest problem with video games making a movie is it's normally through a very singular perspective, and a lot of part of we even cover this in our podcast. A lot of part of a lot of people loving video games to say put themselves in the characters, and being that you're doing the actions for the character, it's easy to envision yourself in it. So it's hard when you then actually put a definitive property to that character is, even when that character is already away from your identity. And for a lot of non-white male individuals, that is more often the case, but video games are so powerful, most of us get past it. It's double so for female non-white, I did say non-white male, so anyway, but we're all used to it and we're fine with it to a certain extent. Yes, representation is important, but it hasn't stopped any of us from playing video games, and it's because eventually we just put ourselves in the thought process, and we make ourselves the main character. Also, shout out to the legendary game that probably prevented way more incels being formed than not. The game Metroid, because a lot of people had to come to a come to Jesus masculinity moment when they found out their favorite character that they've been repping hard for like a year in the late 80s actually was a badass intergalactic bounty hunter who was also a woman. Yeah, they do things now, gentlemen. So yeah. And it brings me, actually, now it does bring me to how I was going to lean into this, but I'll just jump right in. Sitting down a couple of days ago, being very productive, and by that I'm playing the prequel to Borderlands. And my wife, God bless her, just basically allows me to play video games way more than I probably should. But because of that, she ends up hearing and listening to a lot of it, and as I've pointed out many times, she's a saint. So she'll find ways to entertain herself while I'm playing way more hours of video games than I probably should. And there's a character in it that makes her laugh. It's basically the main character of the video game. It's this character by the name of Jack. Hilarious dude, but he's incredibly evil. In this part of the video game, he's sort of the hero, but even still, he's a vile individual. But all the comedy is through him, and it's okay because the way they shape the story, it's okay because everyone's anti-hero, so it's all right if you're laughing somewhat with while you're doing quote unquote heroic things at the thing that you're trying to stop, which is the biggest villain, and in this case, the guy Jack. Makes people laugh, makes Sarah laugh all the time. There's a moment where you bring him in the game and he says the world got 25% more handsome. Kills her every time. She literally brought it up last night, which made me think, oh, fuck, that's right. They're going to make a movie out of Borderlands. Now, if you've ever played Borderlands, you understand you're on an adventure, whether you want to be or not. The non-playable characters, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, who's seemingly cornering the market on some of this shit.
Oh, yeah.
And think Free Guy people when I say non-playable characters. Anyway, so as you're playing the game Borderlands, even the non-playable characters are very entertaining. The whole thing is just a warped, weird, super futuristic adventure. Anyway, I started thinking, fuck, they're going to make a movie out of this. And they're already off to a really bad start because it seems pretty clear that two things are happening. It always happens when it comes to video game movies. One is being made by people who either A, don't give a shit about the intellectual property, or B, are too fucking lazy and careless to even look at the intellectual property, to even check themselves. Because one of the individuals that they've already casted for, or at least reported to cast for, and a character who is very straightforward, by the book, archetype of the heroic soldier, this character by the name of Roland, they got Kevin Hart to play this individual. Now,
Yes.
funny quick side story, right? Funny quick side story. I've actually watched a movie where Kevin Hart wasn't there to be any sort of comedic relief. It wasn't a comedy vehicle from him. It's a movie called, I think it's called Paper Planes. And there's a few moments that are funny, but it's circumstantial. He is actually he does a really good job of acting straightforward. It's just a straightforward crime drama, coming to life type of drama. Anyway, so I know he can pull off those roles, but let's be honest and clear. That's obviously not why he got casted for this. I think The Rock is actually attached to it. I'm not even sure. But point being is, if you got Kevin Hart playing the character of Roland, what most likely is happening is the other part. And this is the problem where I would argue this is the biggest problem with series, be it video games, comics, books, what have you, even TVs going to movies. You're trying to truncate things. So it seems pretty clear that what they're trying to do is take the character that should be the bad guy, the villain, the person that everyone should go to the movie to see get defeated. They're taking the property of that individual and they're mashing into another character to basically bring in the idea of the comedy being on the protagonist side, not the antagonist side. I think a lot of people, whether they think of it or not, sometimes have a hard problem when they're having all the good times while they're watching a movie or a TV show by the very evil that is out to be stopped by the thing that they're watching. It's basically if you're watching Breaking Bad, but from an actual perspective of a law-abiding citizen. All of a sudden, Walter White ain't the cool guy that you're thinking about. So it made me think of video game movies. And that's actually when I texted these individuals and like, hey, let's talk about this. And it made me think to a situation where, let me sell you a situation. I'm going to give you an post-apocalyptic movie. I'm going to even have a little bit of a steampunk feel to it because I'm going to change some histories and some timelines. I'm even going to go crazy with the premise of where humanity went. Instead of us kind of following the mammalia sort of property of our development, we follow the reptilian. Huh? Thank you. We follow the that's 6 years of school, ladies and gentlemen.
Someone's trying to get laid over there. That's all I'm saying.
I am one semester away from being a fake doctor. Thank you. We follow the reptilian sort of line of development. We also have a gritty, hard, edgy atmosphere that's very similar in some ways and shape or form that a lot of people have compared to, and people who know what they're talking about. Blade Runner. It looks like it's Blade Runner. Hell, there's even some parts of this script, the original script, that had it in the Die Hard universe. So imagine that situation. I'll explain that in a second. I give you all that. Also, let me go ahead and tell you who we got penned for this. What if I tell you Danny DeVito? Too good. Can't get him. Not enough time. He's too good. Oh, what if I told you that we had Tom Hanks ready to go for this? Actually, not good enough. Checking my notes, he's currently number 8 ranked actor in the world, but yeah, not good enough for this project. What if I told you on our soundtrack for this movie, for this epic, this opus that I'm pitching for you, that not only do we have the musical offerings of Extreme, US3, Megadeth, Divinyls, Roxette. She's got the look, Roxette. That Roxette.
Finals.
Oh, don't worry, you British rockers. Queen, and for all you funkadelics out there, don't you put your nose up either, because we also got George Clinton. And for all those individuals hailing from the Adams side of Dorchester who kind of like their Calvin Kleins, we also have Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch ready to go for the soundtrack for this movie. What movie am I giving you? What awesome, intelligent, incredible connection to obviously the intellectual property. I'm giving you Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. That is the movie I just told you. That is the situation. I'm giving it to you from the people who brought you Max Headroom. Yeah, that actually happened. I'm giving it to you from 6 different companies involved with making this movie, one of which was the parent company, Nintendo, who, by the way, looked at this kind of like a science project, and everyone's kind of like, fuck it, let's see what happens. And also, fun fact, because this did so well, Nintendo has basically sworn off anyone being able to use their IPs for movies ever again. If it came from Nintendo, you're not making a movie from it. If it's Nintendo adjacent, you might have a shot. Nintendo, not fucking happening. Not while that family that has been part of that power structure this whole time ain't gonna go down. Also, it is quite obviously the exact opposite of what Nintendo always was, because Nintendo, colorful, bright, definitely not fucking gritty, and in a lot of ways gorgeous. Also, if you thought that was a problem, like, well, RaShaun, they're giving you a different story. And there are actually some notes that have been discovered by a producer and director that said what they were trying to do was the prequel to the Super Nintendo. I mean, to the Super Mario Brothers that we were supposed to see. That it was actually a prequel, and they doubled down on this because at the end of the movie, they try to basically be like, hey, now the story begins. We got to go do this adventure. They didn't. And they thought that they're doing something. Here's the funny part. The first Super Mario Brothers for the NES, or Nintendo, if you will, for the layman, the outfit for Mario was, and by the way, it's Mario, Luigi Mario, and Mario. So the outfit for Mario, or Mr. Mario, was red and white, not blue, not red and blue, red and white. That was it. Also, I know I've ran out of time, but I have to give you this because this is what happens. See, the problem is that we're not actually telling the history of video game stories quite right. Up until that moment, we were starved, but we weren't completely starved. We were given a morsel, but it wasn't enough. We got told some bullshit because the lead into Super Mario Brother 3, the actual game, we were promised a movie, a video game movie. That was mind-blowing for any of our kids, any of the kids in that generation. What we got was basically what was known as Kid Rain Man. It was the movie Wizard. Now, you kids, I'm not going to go into it, but I'll tell you right now, it was a big fucking letdown for all the kids who thought that was actually going to be a video game movie, especially since they leaned hard on the fact that what they're going to do is show us Super Mario 3, the game, in the movie. They did it, but in the cheapest way possible. They definitely said, we don't give a shit about who's watching this movie. We just aren't going to pay. So when we got Super Mario Brothers coming out a couple of years later, this is 4 years later, we were promised something that was supposed to be awesome. Here's the weird part, and the reason why I went way over my time. I have to connect this. One of the writers was the writer for Rain Man.
Hey, small world.
I'm sorry, but that just kills me. One of the writers for Super Mario Brothers was actually one of the writers for Rain Man.
I believe it.
Oh, there was no shot.
Actually, as you were telling me that, I was like, did they check off every box for why you know a movie is going to be terrible? Now it's like all I needed to hear was reshoots.
Bob Hoskins, God bless his soul, him and John Leguizamo had to get fucking hammered to do this movie. They had to get absolutely hammered. Which is only fair.
Why we had to get hammered to watch it,
right? It was the reason why Bob Hoskins barely made it out of the movie. He got into so many different accents and got hurt so many different times. Matter of fact, there are some scenes where he has broken appendages and they just painted pink, so you hope you wouldn't notice. He didn't even know what the hell he was filming until his own son pointed out what the hell he was filming. So they didn't have a shot.
At this point of adaptations and film versions and series, and it's like I think everybody knows that it's never, and I do mean never, going to live up to the original thing. It's just not going to. It's not going to, for a lot of reasons. But I think most people now at this point keep their expectations measured. They're just kind of like, hopefully I just enjoy it and I'm entertained by it, whatever it is. So it's like, even though I hear all of that stuff you just said, it's like, you know what, if it's funny, if it's cute, if whatever, then I'll go see it, whatever, because they're not going to stay true to the original thing. They're not. They're just not.
I think the only time you have a shot is you can't do it in a movie. Like that's what I think is where the biggest problem is. Even if you're trying to be as honest to the intellectual property as possible, you're not going to be able to truncate hours upon hours of content into like a 2-hour format unless you're.
I know. I mean, you'll think this is strange, but I disagree with you. because yeah, I think you can take the major beats of whatever the story is of the video game. Okay, leave out, a crazy doctor here, leave out a side quest there. But I think you can at least take the major beats, or at least the major theme, and still make a good movie based on it. I don't think you just have to go, all right, let's just turn it into a rom-com, or let's just turn it into a really cute kids film. Like I think that you actually can. But the problem is, I genuinely don't believe these people know anything about this stuff. Like, they just don't. So I think what you described to me, I'm not 100% sure, but that sounds like what I've been calling the Guardians of the Galaxy Band-Aid, where you just throw in a bunch of retro shit and funny one-liners. And what's the story about? Who cares? These characters are funny. I feel like that's what they're going to do with probably everything they possibly can.
You're muted. Host, you're muted.
Oh, let's shit talk Josh real quick.
Oh, we're totally gonna
Oh,
shit
hell
talk.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're
Is
gonna
this
shit talk.
dude?
I mean,
muted? Oh
what
my
kind
god!
of-
Oh
what
my
kind of
god.
Mickey Mouse.
He was peeing everybody.
There was that, and also I also had the phone call that came into there, so maybe that didn't make it onto the tape. But yeah, I was muted. Oh man, the embarrassment. I just wanted to thank you both though for having this conversation, because, I didn't realize it until you started talking, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the male equivalent of Mila Jovovich to these movies. I just realized
Totally.
that after being in Doom and so many other things, and and Jumanji, which they made into a video game movie as such, because in that iteration it was an 8-bit video game that's
Don't forget Rampage.
Rampage. Yep.
He was in Rampage.
He was in Rampage.
He was in Rampage. How about Rampage existed because
How about Rampage? Well,
Yeah.
again, talk about an IP that, like, wow, okay, we went there. I just want to say thank you. My day is now much more complete, realizing that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in fact, that the prince and princess of this proverbial prom is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Mila Jovovich. After that, if you got one of those two in your video game IP, you're going to be all right. I mean, really, no need to go any further. Fuck it. You can just improvise the entire script.
The Rock has literally been called franchise Viagra. So yes,
Nice.
I think
I didn't realize that.
when you earn that, then yeah, absolutely. You can.
I would have called
Rock
him,
will make it a thing.
I would have called him franchise anabolic steroids, but no, he's all natural. Come on, who we kidding here? Come on, that's all just clean living and good lifting. But
He's a Pacific Islander, like absolutely.
Dwayne, we love you though.
They're sexy people.
We love you, Dwayne. It's awesome. And anytime you want to come on, hang out with us, maybe you and Vin Diesel can come and hang out, because I want to hear that conversation with RaShaun.
You act like I won't talk shit.
Oh no, I want to hear you like that. That would just be awesome. I'd love to have maybe if we actually can get Vin on the show finally, to have you
finally, like we've been trying.
We out here. We are trying so hard, guys. We love you, our listeners. We see more of you out there. We are so happy. I'm about to just give the listeners a good fluff session. We thank you. We appreciate you. We're seeing more of you out there, and we want to keep that going. So, please keep coming back and visiting us on these subjects, because when it comes to franchise Viagra, we want to push our own Viagra. Okay. We want to get to that. We want to get to the point where we get to do a live read for Dick Bills in the middle of all this. So, that's when we truly know we've made it. So we thank you for listening to us out there, and just keep that happening. Keep that coming.
And dick pills are for everyone.
Well, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a dick to try dick pills. So I'm told. So we'll go on from that. But that's our wonderful little magical jaunt through, our at least our first crack at video game movies. The good news about some of these subjects is we can always come back and find some more for you, because that's just how we steam. That's
I mean, I intentionally left out the movies that pissed me right the fuck off. I mean, I was doing my best to try and do something that the movie I was talking about failed to do, which was to be slightly colorful, in resemblance of the actual intellectual property that they were trying to represent. But it all really comes down to what you care about, don't it?
Yeah, there is and we know that in most of these things, that, let's face it, they care about the green in our pocket. That's about the only color anyone's got.
That's why I said they're kind of defaulting to what worked, which was Guardians of the Galaxy, just throw in a bunch of retro songs, and the rest of it should take care of itself. And a hell of a lot of cute and quips, very quippy. Keep it quippy.
Quippy, yes. Keep it quippy.
We gotta go, but I see what you mean. I just think it's different, because it's different when you're taking literature, whatever form it is, especially over a series, and you're moving into a movie, versus things where you actually have a say in the actions of the character that you were loving in the video game form. That's where it really breaks down. If you're gonna do anything, I don't think it can be a 2-hour movie, only because you have to give time to actually expand the world enough for the person not to care about the singular entry into the property that got them there, which is the video game. It's you think about it, reverse engineer it. Why don't movies going into a video game work? How come video games made after a movie intellectual property rarely work? It's because they're trying to capture all the experiences that the movie created for each person. The problem is that is varied. It's not the same for each person, even 3 friends watching the same movie. So to make it into a video game, if you try to take a singular approach, you end up losing it. Forget about the fact that they're normally horribly made, which is odd that the last action hero video game was actually cool for the time, but should have probably been better for the last action hero.
Just saying. But well, it is still more grist for the mill. Still, those things keeping us on there. Greg, I am going to task you with getting us a whole line of merch labeled "Keep It Quippy," because I think that's a winner right there. I think that is Steam Gentleman approved without a doubt. Shirts that just say "Keep It Quippy." We're all about it. That could be almost after trope is dope. I think that could almost be another hashtag for us. Who knows? But speaking of hashtags, find us on the socials. A lot of you have found us there lately on Facebook at the Steam Gentleman Podcast, on Instagram at Do You Even Steam Bro, the Steam G's on Twitter. We're loving that. And actually a really important idea, an announcement I want to put out to you there for you, the listener. If you have an idea for a show, if you have an idea for a subject, we want to hear from you. We want you to hear from you. Steam people, you are the Steam people. You are out there. You are the Steam now that is driving this engine and driving us on towards purple mattress sales and dick pills. Get on in there and let us know what you want to hear about. Where in pop culture and social commentary do you want to explore? We are Do You Even Steam Bro at gmail.com. That's right, at gmail.com. Everyone leaves the .com off Gmail, I know, but I'm feeling more and more like a boomer, even though I'm solidly in Gen X these days. So the Facebook, the Instagram, the Gmail.
We took all their music, so it's fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we literally took all their music.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So, we're continuing to move on, but we really do want you to chime in with your whatever subjects that you think we want to explore. We're having a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun coming up with the subjects, but we want to make this interactive. We want to make you part of the movement, part of the Steam generation here. So with that, coming back to you, 3 clubs, how you looking for the rest of this week? As we're starting on Mondays these days, and that's become our new comfortable recording time. So loving it. So what you got on for the rest of the week into the weekend?
That's like answering the lottery. But I would like to take my time to shout out my man Minty Comedic Arts. And 10 things you did not know about Super Mario Bros. He does a way better job of breaking out everything I just said. So I want to give credit where credit's due. He has an awesome YouTube series. Check my man out. Shout out to my man.
Absolutely. Love Minty. He's got some good stuff. Always has.
He's got some great stuff.
Always has some fun stuff on a lot of the same subject matter. He's definitely a pop culture, pop culture, social commentary guys. So all good. Check that out. Gregory, how's your week off to start? Where do you think it's going to? Out to the star child.
We're just, eating. We're going to eat up as much possible summer as we possibly can before the wildfires get to us.
Man, sounds like a good plan. Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Birdman? Because you always try to get out here without.
Oh yeah, no, I just I like to do it. I'm going to, as always, endeavor to keep my kids alive, first and foremost, and keep my kids entertained on that subject and on video games. So I let my kids, my youngest Gabe, was like begging me to let him play Roblox again. I don't even know this thing, right? And there's this character named Piggy. I didn't realize what Piggy looked like. And it was giving him nightmares. I thought it was like a regular pig. Oh, no. It is like some demonic dude with like a pig head and some gun chasing them around. It's truly like terrifying. It looks like some kind of, weird cross of like a biker and a demon and some kind of white supremacist. It's just freaky all around.
So is it Bebop from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It's a little like that, but like
Which is a weird crossover because also fun fact about Super Mario Brothers, a part of the reason why they screwed up was because the success of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There you go.
A few years earlier.
But nevertheless, this TMNT did not give my kid nightmares. So this one did. So
Did they see Bebop?
Oh, God. They didn't see Bebop. I've seen Bebop in the games that they play. They play a version of TMNT. Doesn't give them nightmares. But anyway.
Hello, Gabe. Is your father here?
So
I'd like to speak to your mum.
That's been what I'm dealing with all day here and trying to recoup what sleep I have from my interrupted REM cycle. So thank you, video games.
Cook him some bacon and call it a day.
That's
like, hey,
they both like bacon, but that's
you won.
Yes, that's it. My half Jewish kids who love bacon more than anything else. I'm clearly doing a lot here.
You can get away with a lot in America. That's what we need to focus on.
The people who wrote the Torah probably like bacon too. Just back then, if you didn't eat it right away, you're gonna kill a lot of people.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, they're probably just trying to keep people alive more than anything else.
I give you that. And milk and meat isn't necessarily the best combination in your stomach. But all right, what are you gonna do? Anyway,
milk was a bad choice.
Yes. Well, this is the Josh, the Birdman, doing my sign off here. Telling you, I want you to groove on out into your nice week. Try and love each other. Keep your heat up and keep your head of steam on.